Hey everybody, this is Muffin with the Daily Biker Podcast. Just here to let y'all know the opinions and ideas expressed in this show are those of the hosts and their guests, not to be confused with their partners and sponsors. Now, let's get it on.
Hey guys, this is Sean from the Bikes and Beards YouTube channel, and you guys are listening to the Daily Biker Podcast. You're gonna love it.
A joke. Oh, now you get messages.
It doesn't matter.
Don't be telling them blowing us up. Oh, turn that the other way. Where the green light points up. I was about to say, clip it the way you had it, just where the green light points up.
Yeah, sorry, Toby and I had an interaction. Light leverage.
This is going to be a good one. Fun. This is not the first time, though.
That is not the first time.
No. So, I guess I will tell everybody, hey, everybody, welcome back to the Daily Biker Podcast. My name is Marcus, and I am your clueless leader. Today, we're going to go on a learning journey. Special interview.
Special, eh?
It is special. Yesterday, actually, I had a very special interview, too.
Oh, yeah. So it has no weight when you say special now.
So, no, and I'll explain why both are
okay.
special. Okay. So, yesterday's interview.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like the episode that came out today is the one I recorded yesterday.
Okay.
Episode 145. That's how many episodes there is.
Hey, way to go, brother.
That guy has been listening to us. It was an interview with one of our listeners.
Sweet.
In California, and we did it over the phone and all this other stuff and talked about bikes, and he's been listening to us for probably like a year and a half. He'll shoot us messages,
cool.
always commenting on Facebook and stuff like that. So,
man, it's cool to have the commitment like that.
like I said, special interview. But this is also a special interview.
Okay. I'm grateful for that.
Just as special in a different way.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
It's kind of like when you have two kids. You love them both. Usually one of them's like a complete idiot, and you're like, this is my son. He's special.
I fit into that bucket.
That's me.
We can be on that side of the line. And then yesterday's special guest is the one that whenever they walk up, it's like, but this is my other son.
Yeah.
And he
the
is
honor student.
And he is special.
Yeah, I'm the baby of our family.
Yeah.
So that already made me special. But then I'm also kind of the black sheep, so that kind of makes me special.
Okay. Whatever we need to check that special box, brother. You are special.
Let me try and focus. So, motorcycles.
Yes, sir.
You ride them from time to time.
I do.
So, okay. Here's what we got. I guess I've told everybody who I am. I should make sure that they know who's sitting here with me. So, I've got Zeke Sickish, Oklahoma man,
yep,
DART certified instructor, and you instruct the Dirt Wayz class that White Lightning Harley Davidson puts on.
I do. Yeah,
So, you had a big smile across your face, and you. Before you were like, "Yep," and I said that, and then you got like this grin. You really, I guess, you enjoy it.
The cool part is we, yesterday we just wrapped up, the 23 season, and it's this last week of the last one in levels 1 and 2 class, and then this last weekend of level 3. It's been a grind, and
last time you and I mean, not on the podcast, but last time you and I actually sat and talked about the class was a month or so ago.
Yeah, I think it was, 1st of October.
Yeah. And we were talking about level 3, and you were like, I kind of got an idea. I'm not 100% sure what we're going to do. And now you went through it.
Yeah.
And of course, I've seen some of those photos, and it's like, oh, yeah. And it's some of that stuff is stuff that I was kind of hoping for anyways. Or I had pictured in my mind, I guess it was, I didn't know how to word it. You know what I mean? Because we talked about like obstacle crossings and stuff like that. So, but we'll get into that. Okay. First of all, to I guess the elephant in the room on this, you're a BMW guy.
Yeah. Yes, I am.
But you've been on the Pan America for these classes.
I've been on a Pan America for these classes locally, but I've had a chance over the last week. I got here.
You've lived with the Pan America for the past week.
So today's the 14th, the 12th of November.
13th.
Okay, so it's the 13th of November, 2023. I get here the 3rd.
Well, the week in October you had the Pan America too.
Well, I had it then for a little bit, and I got to put some road miles on it and things like that. But this week being here, we do levels 1 and 2, and then it's go ride with Sean on Monday. Yeah. And we get off into Georgia, and we rode some really cool stuff.
And y'all went to Houston Valley for that, right?
I think so. Okay. I'm not 100%. I was along for the ride. And so I ride the Pan into that. On Tuesday, we ride up to Tellico. We train a handful of the guys here at the shop.
Yeah.
And we have a good time with that. A couple of the guys, one's on an Africa Twin, one's on a KLR.
Yep.
So, the dealership is all about all makes and models.
And then, of course, one on a Pan America.
And one on a Pan America. But I was able, as the guy on the KLR was, he was able to manipulate the bike real easy. And I could see.
That's Ryan. You can say Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan's been
on this podcast before.
So Ryan's coming up, and you can see him just rolling along with the KLR, and I wanted him to feel some more weight. So I was able to just hang the keys on it. And, it's like, Ryan, now go do it on that.
Yeah.
We get into braking and things like that. And we were chasing the Africa Twin and trying to get the ABS shut off.
Yeah.
And was able to put Kevin on the Pan.
Okay.
And let him literally throw a leg over it and go straight into off-road.
Yeah.
Things with it. But then Wednesday, I meet a guy and we ride Haley Road.
Okay.
Which is this super cool, chunky.
Did you meet one of our customers?
Yeah, it was Zach.
One of the guys that, you met Zach.
I met Zach over there.
Okay.
And he's on that Pan with
he's on Iron Man.
Sean's color with the anodized gold wheels. It's a beautiful motorcycle. So we went off in there, rode it both directions, was able to take and put it in some technical scenarios.
Yeah. Haley Road, I've got some people that have some ADV bikes in town and stuff like that. They might not necessarily be big time riders and stuff. And they're like, I think I'm going to go ride Haley Road. And I'm like, I don't know, bro.
Well, and those are the roads I like to go down.
Yeah, but you're an experienced rider.
I'm an experienced rider.
Haley Road is one of those roads that I feel an unexperienced rider taking their time, being super, super cautious, could make it across if they have to. But it's a higher level road for sure.
Me personally, I wish I had Haley Road for level 3.
Yeah,
because I could take some students in there, and we could break some of the elements down.
The only reason I say that a beginner could make it through there taking their time and being slow is because I've seen people get in situations where all of a sudden they've got down to the creek and they've been like, oh, what am I supposed to do? And they're like turning around and going back up that rock face and stuff like that. And it's like, you see them. Some of them are walking their bike with the engine on and stuff and using a little bit of power and stuff like that. It's a very technical road. But it's such a good road because it doesn't really have necessarily bailouts, but it's got a way that if you have to, you can stop.
Well, what I like about it is if it gets, into a borderline catastrophe mechanically, or even, if personal injury happens, you can. Yeah. It's a car. It's the width of a car. I mean, it's a good full road, and so somebody can get in there and do an extraction if things start to go wrong.
Yeah, 100%.
Which we are not trying to promote or anything like that, but things happen.
Yeah,
we're on adventure bikes having an adventure. So,
well, I mean, things happen with very experienced riders. I mean, we've talked before about cracking the heads on beamers and stuff like that. So,
been there.
Yeah, stuff happens with experienced guys. So,
but Thursday, I got to meet back up in Tellico with Chuck Lambert, Tim,
Chuck,
and a couple of his friends showed up.
I was trying to remember who else was in that photo.
It was Don, a guy named Don, and a guy named Ted, and they were the ones on the KLX and then we had a guy on a DR
I
650.
think I've met Dawn before.
Super cool cats, man. They could ride. They stayed with it. But we were able to get, I think we did almost 100 miles that day of just almost these beautiful country roads, winding it through the countryside the whole time on the pan, just letting it eat, taking the terrain as it is, getting a feel for what it wants to do as you're manipulating it off road.
Yeah.
Or just on a gravel road. And it's beautiful.
So now I guess the question that it comes down to is, like I said, you're a full-size GS guy. That's what you own. Okay. And now you're doing all this. Basically the even kill competing motorcycle. What do you think of the Pan America?
It deserves a fair shake.
So
if you're in the market, and you're on the fence on which way to go, and you're in the big CC north of 1,000, it deserves a fair shake. I keep waiting for something to go wrong, and I keep pushing on it. The cool part is it's not my bike.
Well, and the thing,
so I'm riding it,
right,
in the dealer's namesake, but the dealership is behind the bike because they own it.
Yeah.
So me personally, I'm riding it with slight disregard to see if I can find a failure point.
Yeah.
And see what's going to happen when it does. But
you've seen some of these pans have small problems, and you've heard about them and stuff like that. But it's also nothing outside the realm of small problems that BMW has and stuff
all
like
makes
that.
And models. Guys are tearing KTMs apart right now.
You're talking about taking a motorcycle and going off road with it. I mean, unless it's a full blown motocross bike, they're not designed. I mean, they are, but they're not designed to just bash in the woods. They are.
To an extent, like anything else, right?
Right. But it's just like where y'all went and rode Monday out at House and Valley.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I've been all through there on the ATVs, and there's some spots there where it's like, I don't know if I'd want to take a big bike through there.
Well, but the thing is if the track is wide enough for an ATV, that pan fits all day long.
Well, the only problem, and the spots in my mind that make me think about it, is there's some spots where you're trying to like climb up the side of the ridge and stuff like that, and the trail's kind of cocked at like a 25 or 30 degree angle, and then it'll be rutted on one side.
Yeah.
So it's like you're trying to ride up, and if you're not in the rut, you're on essentially a mud or dirt slope that pushes you down into that rut.
And that forces your technique to be dialed.
Yeah.
Because if things are going to go wrong and it's going to fail, you need to be able to, manipulate your body position and your interaction with the motorcycle to soften whatever that's going to be.
Yeah. So let's talk a bit about Dirt Wayz, where it started at compared to where it is now.
Yeah.
Like the class, level 1, level 1/2.
Yeah.
And level 3 compared to where, on all aspects of it. You've seen me grow in the aspect of working with these people to make sure that they get signed up, make sure that they're prepared, making sure that we're prepared as a dealership and we have everything there to where we are now. What can you speak on like that?
To me, the coolest thing, to be at this now for 7 years, working with Bill Dragoo and the DART program, and watching what him and his wife do to get the logistics. Yeah. To me, the backside of it is the hard part, and what's taking place with the email strings and what y'all are doing to get, all the resources in place. Yeah. For me to just show up and execute the 2 days of training, that's part of it. But, the weeks leading up, what y'all are doing in the marketing and and just the overall interaction and your personalities with these all makes and models that are showing up to take this class. Yeah. We're not just doing pan training. So
I don't think we've had a class yet, with the exception of the Harley Davidson class.
Yeah.
That didn't have all makes and models in it.
I agree.
And we've had almost every class has had someone involved with the motor company somehow. I think, with the exception of this last class.
Yeah.
Whether it's been somebody that's been on a higher level or even just a smaller level. Hey, I do this, and it partners with but like Vincent.
Yeah,
That's
Vincent
the second
took it
time
twice.
Vincent's class that Vincent's been through.
Yeah.
And Vincent went through on his own the first time.
That's right, with Rob.
So,
Briefly. So, and you have Deb involved real early.
yeah.
And again, the attention that the dealership is applying, please understand that holds so much weight.
Yeah.
Me executing the day of and executing the program is still about 30% of the overall interaction with the full package of the training. Because, y'all have it all set up. Sean's out there working the lunch orders and things like that, making sure that the water, Gatorade, just the overall interaction for the student is to just show up and ride. And what it takes to execute that is no small task.
What do you see class-wise, how it has grown from, we'll say, March to November, as in how the class flows for you? Because I feel like some of that's become a little bit more seamless because you have stuff where, you plan on doing this and Sean knows exactly what you're going to be doing. So he's already prepared and he already has things set up and those types of things. I feel for you, and kind of what I want you to talk about is a little bit of that relationship where, you don't have to go and describe it. You can just go, Sean, we're going to do figure eights.
Yeah.
And he knows exactly what you're looking for. He can walk over there, set the cones up and do it and have it ready without you having to stand there and go, no, this is how it needs to be done.
Well, and our cadence now, is once you guys at the shop go over the checklist and everything's in the truck, we can literally roll up to Teleco at the Toad and roll out. In 20 minutes, we can have day one set up, and that's the 10 by 20. We have both cone drill, or both cone elements set up, and literally, we're unloading bikes. We unload our stuff over there, the lodge of Teleco.
Yeah,
we get all of this dialed in. We have a little bit of lunch, and then we spend the rest of the day primarily just kind of making sure that we've got a good feel of what it's going to be. Or, as the classes have clicked off, we'll take some of that time to continue to build into the next one. Do we like what this is doing? More flags have showed up, the feathers, do we like the overall appearance of what this is going to be? Climb stepped up and gave us some, so we're mixing those in. We know where variable terrain's going to be the next day. I'm not joking, man. In less than 30 minutes, we can go out there and lay out the overall appearance of a 2-day program in 30 minutes.
Well, and we've got a lot of partners. Let's see here. I've got the flyer on my computer somewhere.
Because a lot of people have stepped up to really, back this and what it's going to be. And it's not just back Dirt Wayz, it's the dealership and their push into the ADV community to see where it can go and what's going to happen.
Let's see here. I have a madness to my thing. Although it doesn't look like I know what I'm doing half the time. Partially do.
That's that special thing.
So, but like that's the thing. I'm trying to get this list here. Yeah. So, like with our 2024 training, okay. Still Horse Law, they've stepped in. They've donated some money to help, make sure lunches and stuff are covered on Saturdays and Sundays. Western Power Sports has stepped up. They're going to be giving us some product.
What do they do?
So Western Power Sports is they're a I don't want to say a dealer. They're a distributor that sells to dealers.
Nice.
And they sell, they do Kenda
and everything.
It's a catalog.
Yeah.
A list of different products from all different manufacturers and stuff like that. But they're very heavily involved with ADV stuff.
Cool. Nice.
And dirt, just generalized dirt stuff. So Denali.
Lights.
Yep. They've stepped up. They're going to be donating some lights and some horns and stuff to be able to give away how we've done stuff before where it's like, this person, this student has really improved. We want to benefit that student because of how much they have done.
Yeah.
So they've stepped up. They're giving us a bunch of stuff. Bell is stepping in.
Nice.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Bell's going to be giving a helmet. We're going to be doing a helmet giveaway.
That's cool.
Climb is involved. Climb is already, they're going to be doing some other stuff, but they've already donated like the flags to be able to set up for training and stuff like that. And then, of course, what I call Wonderlich. I'm not sure if it's Wonderlich or Wonderlick.
It'd be cool to get a clarification on that, because I don't know.
They say Wonderlich.
Okay.
But we're American, they're German.
Right. So, yeah. What side of the fence do we want to be on? Do we want to be culturally
well, I think we're supposed to be allies now. But Wonderlick has stepped in, and they've been very heavily involved. They've been out here when we've had our Pan America seminars and stuff like that. Cool. So, and actually, that relationship with Wonderlick, it's kind of funny. So, not this past LTAR, but LTAR last year.
Yeah.
They actually stopped by the dealership, and I think it was either Thursday or Friday, like morning, and wanting to show us their product. And we were kind of talking to them, and I told them, I was like, dude, y'all don't need to be going to dealers right now. They're like, well, what do you mean? I was like, there's an ADV rally happening in Tellico. That's where y'all need to be at. And they're like, well, who do we need to talk to? And I gave them David's number, and I said, pull up to the gate. Here's David's number. Your phone's not going to work when you get there. Tell him I sent you. Tell him who you are. And I came up that Saturday morning, and they were there, and they were set up, and people were looking at their stuff. And then I think they were at March Moto Madness this past year and stuff like that. So it's just, they make a really good product, and they're getting involved. They're getting in front of those people and stuff like that. But they're so personable. If I had questions right now, I could call Hans, who's like the main rep for the company. I could call him on my cell phone and be like, hey, Hans, here's what I got. He'll send me messages every once in a while, just seeing how stuff's going and stuff like that. They are so nice. It's like, it's incredible to experience that directly from a company, because you get that from like reps, Western Power Sports, Drag Specialties. You get that from those reps, but that's part of their thing.
But this is also, people are in pursuit of that interaction. So if somebody right now were on the fence with a BMW or a Pan America, and they potentially go to a BMW dealership, have a sour interaction, nobody gives them the attention, or gives them the information they're looking for, and then they roll in here to look at a Pan, and then you and the group and Sean and everybody comes walking out, and they have a positive. They're going to get on a Pan America because they know the interaction is going to be positive. And that's just who we are inherently as people.
Well, and I have said for a long time that we don't have to try and sell the Pan America. If we get someone to ride the Pan America sells itself.
But you got to get them to ride it.
We got to get them to ride it. But we have a customer right now that he's rode a Pan America. He's put some miles on his Pan America. He owns one.
Nice.
He's also put some miles on and off-road on an Africa Twin.
Yeah.
And he was trying to decide between the two as it was. And the reason he ended up on a Pan America, or ended up on riding an Africa Twin, putting some miles on one, was because he had some of those issues. His bike was going to be down for a couple of days, and he had a trip planned. He was able to get his hands on an Africa Twin, and he rode it. But even then, after the fact, he's like, I want my Pan America.
Yeah. But again, when he comes here to get service or any aspects of the interaction of supporting his motorcycle, and that could be socially, mechanically, whatever, financially, whatever needs to take place, it's a great interaction. And you want to be here. You want to ride the bike, so that way you can break it and come up here and visit with your friends and do what you need to.
So one of the questions that I get a lot, like we'll have people submit, because for anybody listening to this that doesn't quite understand some of the things that I do, when someone sends in, hey, I'm interested in doing the class, or whether they commented on Facebook, they send it on through Messenger, Google, they call the store directly, I'm responsible reaching out to that customer, talking to that customer about what the class entails and stuff, and getting them signed up for the class. I have a lot of people that are like, well, I don't ride a Harley. How am I going to be treated?
Yeah.
And I tell everybody, I'm like, you're going to be treated the same way as everybody else.
You're going to be treated like an adventure rider.
Right. Because I've also experienced it with people that will be like, which I think it was your June class, you had someone that was on like a DR 250 or DR 300 or something like that. Tammy.
Yeah, that was Tammy. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, well, I'm going to be on a small bike. And I'm like, okay. Like, talk about that because, you know, you have fell in love with the Pan America.
Yeah.
Obviously. You still also love your BMW.
I do.
But being, you know, a BMW guy and seeing these customers come in to take the class that they aren't Harley people.
Yeah.
What is that like for them? I know you're the trainer, so it's hard to speak for the student.
Well, I think, you know, everybody shows up, regardless to their make and model, a little apprehensive. Because, again, it's, you know, we're bringing you in on your motorcycle and we're trying to teach you as a rider. So I'm not, you know, yes,
Right.
I want you to have a positive interaction with your motorcycle, regardless to what it is. But most people are, once we get them on site
Yeah.
and they see everybody's there and everybody's, you know, somewhat fumbling through what gear to wear and all this other stuff as well.
Yeah.
A lot of that melts away once you get amongst the other people.
Yeah, because it's something I think some people go into it apprehensively because when you see it, it's like, oh, this is something that's done by a Harley Davidson dealership.
Yeah.
But although this is one of those things that as the dealership, we're doing to promote getting out, ride ADVs,
Yeah.
become a better rider on ADVs and know exactly how to manage and handle your motorcycle.
Right.
From a dealer standpoint, at the end of the day, if one of these customers buys a Pan America, I'm not going to be mad at them. But that's not the point of the class.
Correct.
The point of the class is to promote people getting out and ride and being able to do it better and being able to do it skilled. So we have more people because there's a lot of people that have these bikes. Me and you've had the conversation about the guy that rides his GS to the coffee shop every single day and the thing's never seen anything but pavement, you know.
Never seen an knobby tire.
They're still full on Farkle Squad dressed and stuff like that, but they don't go off road. But this gives those people an opportunity to get that little bit of a taste. If they take the class and they still go, you know what, I'm a little bit better rider, but I'm not going to go off road. Well, that's fine. I've talked to people post class that have been like, you know, I was riding down the road the other day and hit a wet patch of leaves. And I knew exactly how to handle the motorcycle because I'm gotten so used to what that bike feels like when it's sliding and how to overcome those things.
Nice.
So it's brilliant. And I always push that, you know, this is a class that's going to obviously better help you to learn to ride off-road, but also to better help you learn on-road.
Well, and the overall goal is to get you to the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know, if you're riding a gravel road for a day, or if you're on a BDR in Colorado, Utah, you're out doing this, you know, and you make that judgment call to go do some expert technique, you know, something a little more technical. We're trying to instill some confidence to be able to commit to that and know that if it goes wrong, I still have the skill set to get out.
Yeah. Well, and it's one of those things here for us, it's more of sightseeing. But I know when you get out further west, and of course you get out much further, like north than where you are, you get into areas where maybe they've been riding on the road for 600 miles and they're looking at the map and it's like, it's another 200 miles to our destination. Or I can cut right down this gravel road and make that trip in 50 miles.
Yeah.
And you got guys that are so apprehensive, but doing this stuff, they're like, yeah, I can handle that gravel road like it's nothing. For here, you see people post those pictures that overlooking from the bluffs and stuff like that. And it's like, man, where's that at? I want to go do that.
Yeah.
This gives you that opportunity to be able to do it and be able to do it safely.
Well, and I've heard a statistic that less than 10% of the roads in the world are paved.
I'd believe it.
How much are we missing? You know, we have people we're following on Facebook, YouTube, or whatever that are riding around the world on all makes and models. You know, that opportunity can be afforded to you as well if you're willing to commit and go.
You and Sean need to look into putting the bikes like in a cargo container or whatever and shipping them to where that World's Dangerous Road is, the one that like...
No. I don't know if I got the.
You know which one I'm talking about? That you see on TV? Where
it's basically a goat trail hanging off the side of a mountain.
yeah, and you have to. It's like barely one lane, and you have oncoming traffic. That's entire buses and stuff. Like that.
We'll let somebody else do that video on Pan America.
Yeah, but I would love to do. Like, I know it's like that's super sketch.
Yeah,
I would love to do it to have those memories of. Oh man,
I understand. But it still takes a level of commitment, and I'm going to apply a little judgment here and just say, I'll watch your video when you do it, sir. So it's your path of travel.
Talk about getting out riding like that, getting out on the weekends and ride, and your time that you spend at home riding with people, the events that you go to, the ADV, BDR events and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about Harley Davidson and White Lightning in that community, because I'm hearing stories from people all over the country.
Nice.
I'm talking to people. I got a couple signed up the other day that live in Southern Alabama, and I was like, oh, so how did you hear about us? And they're like, well, somebody else shared a thing about your class on an ADV group that's down here. So it's like a local ADV group. The person that shared their class, they told me their name. It's not someone that's taken our class. So it's like, the name is out there. We're not just Harley Davidson, but White Lightning in general is becoming very known in that community. But I mean, what do you see with that stuff? How do you experience that stuff?
I'm following it from afar. I'm in Oklahoma, and really the traffic I'm watching is the Facebook movement as it gets its traction and moves. And again, this is that 70% y'all do, right? And y'all do well. You're committed to it. You're committed to the support, committed of not just the motorcycle, but the community in all aspects of it. What the Sean rides once a month on a Sunday, for people to gather and come together, and be around potentially other students that have taken the program at that point, and then go back to what they're doing. And again, if they're having a positive interaction, we'll tell everybody. If it's not, we tell nobody. Or, and that's the way you want it to go. But I think it's so revolutionary. It's actually the inverse in our lives. Yeah. We don't tell anybody about the good tire shop. We tell them about the 10 bad ones we went to. So, and we'll hang our hat on that for a long time. Yeah. The thing is we're not finding that bad interaction, so it can only be good at this point.
Yeah. I think the only negative we've ever had is there's been people that have not been able to complete the class, but it's been something from their own side. It hasn't been issues with their bikes necessarily, or issues with the class or anything like that. We've had some people that have went into the class thinking it wouldn't, it would be easier. And I don't want to make it sound like it's hard, but we've had some people that are like, picking up this bike is difficult, because I've had people go, you think I'm going to drop the bike in the class? And I'm like, yes. Like the greatest thing that I have is when people go, well, how do I need to dress? And I go, dress to drop your motorcycle. Yeah. And they're like, really? And I'm like, yeah. I tell them, they're like, what boots should I wear? What boots do you want to wear if you dropped your motorcycle?
Yeah.
What gear do you want to be wearing if you're dropping your motorcycle? Because you're going to. I mean, I've had the privilege of going to a couple of classes. The first one that I went to was before you came along. It was when Jeff was doing it and stuff like that. And there was a couple drops. But I feel like it's the way that the training is done, especially when you get into the figure 8 stuff now that y'all are doing, I think everybody was dropping their bike. I think that first class I went to, I think Tobin dropped a bike too. So it's like, it's not one of those things where anybody needs to think, oh, it's because I'm not a better rider. No, right. Everybody drops their bike. You're already talking about riding a motorcycle on surfaces that are extremely loose. You're trying to overcome
the lack of traction,
the obstacle of riding a motorcycle, where a motorcycle does not want to be in.
Yeah. Well, and and the goal is to make the easy things hard.
Yeah.
So that the hard things can be easy.
Yeah.
So ideally, we want to come into the class put the class on in such a way that, the cool part in the class is we're picking your bike up. We're there. We want you to drop it on our terms in our atmosphere instead of being in the middle of Haley Road by yourself. And now there's nobody around. So by all means, we've got, like Tim and, we've got Sean and Mick stepped up, and he's jumping into the mix. So we have 3 or 4 guys running around just to pick motorcycles up because it's physically exhausting to do this class. And it's not that it's hard inputs. Mm-hmm. It's letting your mind go to give the inputs.
Right.
And that's the hard part of it and you'll forget to breathe as you're fighting. So
I do remember that when I came out to the class in March, I kept hearing y'all go, breathe, take a breath.
Yeah. And now.
Yeah.
So, and again, by all means, come out to the class, drop your motorcycle, learn to breathe through these obstacles and things like that. Because when you get into it, it's gonna be for long periods of time. And you're going to need to breathe or you'll pass out and fall over at that point.
Yeah.
Motorcycle's going to drop, right?
Yeah. There's stuff from the class that I have as a spectator, because when I was there for both those classes, I was there not necessarily as a spectator. I was there as media guy, basically.
Yeah.
Taking photos and videos and getting that stuff out so people could see the class. But there was stuff that I learned and I implement on my street glide that I learned just watching.
Yeah.
Stuff about taking low speed turns and stuff about, the balance point on the motorcycle. Because it's like now with these bikes and stuff like that, sometimes we'll have a bike and it'll be an awkward situation and I'll just jump off of it and I'll just have the end of the grip and I'll stand the bike upside the puck underneath it and they're looking at me and they're like, well, I hadn't done that as long as you have. And I'm like, dude, I learned to do that because of the class.
Yeah.
Had nothing to do with my experience of being able to do that. It was 100%, y'all going through learning that balance point of the motorcycles and stuff like that, being able to support your bike no matter where you're at with the motorcycle.
Yeah.
So, Toby, come back over here, buddy. He's just trying to get
them lovin's.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't know anything about lovin'. But it's really cool to be able to, like I said, as a spectator, to walk away with even the smallest types of things like that.
Yeah. And it's, again, small. We're trying to make the easy things hard so the hard things can be easy. So
it's, y'all say it at the beginning of each class where this is the opportunity to drop your motorcycle and not get beat, not get wore out. Drop your bike as many times as you need to and get that help picking it up so you're not exhausted at the end of the day, which you don't always have. Right. If it was just you and Sean going out riding on a super tough trail and both of y'all kept dropping your bikes, y'all are going to be wore out.
Yeah.
But this is an opportunity where you have so many other people involved to help you with that stuff, help you learn, and even help you get to a point where to prevent you from dropping your motorcycle where you dropped it the first time. There's still going to be places where you drop your bike, but...
Well, and Tim added something, as an observation. He's, at the end of day one, as well, we were setting up for level 3 on Friday.
Yeah.
And we got back to the room and we're sitting there kind of downloading the day, making sure we got our timeline and flow right. He said one of his takeaways for the day was that whenever the motor, it's going to fail on me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to the ground is I let it go.
Yeah.
Because I can step off of it. The motorcycle's going to hit the ground.
Yeah.
Regardless. I don't want to be wadded up with it.
Yeah.
It's 500 plus and it's mass in motion. So let it go, step away, recover, get back up. T ran into this yesterday where she kind of had a bad line. One of the first students into the variable terrain course.
Yeah.
Kind of went to go uphill. It chugged into a hole for her. Bike stalled, stopped, came over, and she kind of tumbled a couple tumbles down the ground. And, and initially as a coach, you're like, oh no, we've hurt somebody. And it's all you did. When the minute she came to a stop, she just started laughing.
Yeah.
Because it was, I messed up. I own it. Well, my friends are here. everybody jumped in. We stood her up, got her bike back on track. She threw a leg over and committed to her path of travel and rode her ride.
Yeah. I've seen some people come into the class that are actually really good riders. Like, they don't think that they are. And I'm talking about people that haven't grown up around that stuff.
Right.
People that haven't been around that stuff. And for them, it seems to come very natural. Raymond Bridges is one of those people.
Yeah.
He grew up. He tells a story about being in the city and there's no dirt roads, and where he's at now, there's really no dirt roads. He's got to drive for a couple hours to even get to some dirt roads to be able to ride his Pan America and stuff like that. But Raymond was one of those people that just seems fairly comfortable and fairly natural in that environment. And I think part of that too is because he takes instructions very well.
Nice. Well, and Pato. Pato's the same way. Shows up on his DR 650, or no, his V-Strom 650.
Yeah.
And, and really all of us, Sean, Tim, myself, we set up an element, walk over, kind of give him the talk of, you've heard me talk it up. You've seen me demo it and everything. Man, and he just takes the instruction, goes out there and applies it, and maybe in the first pass, it's not the way he wants it. Comes in and takes the instruction again, and then just goes in there and applies it.
Well, and Sean, very specifically with Sean was one of those people, and I tell people because we've got these people that have called, I just recently got one. I'm interested in going off road. I don't know how I'm going to be and stuff like that. And some of these people, or a lot of these people, are local people, and they've met Sean. And I'm like, 2.5 years ago, Sean was riding choppers and bobbers, and Sean did not come from this world. He's never been in this world, but he's immersed himself in this world a lot, and really loves it and really enjoys doing it. And it's crazy to see, for me to see where he's at.
Yeah,
because I was there on
before
the
days.
Well,
right?
I was there on that very first ride.
Yeah,
that very first ADV ride that me and him did together, scouting out the trail through going up to McCaysville, through Ocoee up to McCaysville. Yeah. We were on that ride together, and to see, the things that we learned where, we're trying to go through the creek and he's dropping the bike, and it makes for some great video and funny memories and stuff like that. But it's like, this is insane to see now, because he's the guy that's ripping it through the woods. I keep trying to get him to that next level where I'm like, I need you to be able to ride wheelies and drift it like on command. On command.
Man, but then you have to apply judgment. You still have to show up to work on, in his scenario, Tuesday. Yeah. And you still have to be able to, and you don't want to do it in a cast or a boot or something like that. So, that's where I can't do any of those things. Yeah, I can get the bike to slide into a corner, but I don't have a flat track background. I don't, gravel roads at 55, 60 mile an hour still have me a little on edge, because I guess when it fails, it's at a high cost. So
it's at a high speed too.
And that's the cost part of it. At low speeds, it's not too much, what have you. But these are things generally that if you didn't do them as a kid, people that have a motocross background, or, in your childhood, you always had this dirt bike that was behind the barn, and every once in a while you get it out. Yeah. Just go ripping it through the yard and get a feel for those inputs that you can carry into adulthood. Yeah. Man, trying to track that down and get a hold of it is really hard. And like I said, I've been doing this for 7 years, and to have some of these big sneak up on you gravel turns will put me in my place. Yeah. And it forces, because again, I need my hands, I need my overall health to do my job and provide for my family.
Let's talk a little bit about Pan America and the world of ADV. Outside of your riding.
Can we pause this just for a second?
Yeah.
I need to go number one.
Yeah.
I'm good.
And we're back.
And we're back. Much more comfortable.
And if you're trying to figure out where we went, just go back a couple seconds.
So we were about to transition into Pan America.
So Pan America in the ADV community.
Yeah.
Take away let's take away where we've kind of talked about how White Lightning has been involved in White Lightning doing it. But, let's go 3 years ago. Obviously, you probably never saw Pan America. Pan America was first hitting the market. And, if you ran into one at the gas station, it's like, oh, cool, that guy's got one of the Pan Americas. You might want to walk over and take a look at it. Or same thing at, I don't know which rallies you go to. I know you typically go to March Moto Madness.
This was my first year for March Moto Madness.
Okay.
And my most consistent's been Waylon Wayne.
Okay, so Waylon Wayne too and stuff like that. Where's it at now? I remember that first year we took Pan Americas to March Moto Madness, and there was probably 2 or 3 other Pan Americas that were there at the time.
Yeah, because people were jumping on it's the new thing.
Right, but also seeing the reaction when you'd ride through and people are like, where's that at now? There are people that still get excited because there are people that still haven't really been around it. But what is it like now when you're,
they're showing up. They're committing to the bike.
Yeah.
It's an interesting time where, here we are post-COVID. They roll that thing out. Well, you have all the big adventure brands that are somewhat fluctuating in, supply chain issues and things like that. But then you have the motor company in this country that, yes, it's getting its parts potentially manufactured all around the globe, what have you. But it's set up to be everywhere in this country. I was looking at a map of the area, and there's so many Harley opportunities.
Yeah.
The one thing that Harley will have over all other adventure bikes is the dealer network.
Yeah.
And so if they'll get on board, if we can get them to come in and embrace the brand as y'all have, and some, you've got Yellowstone out there and some of the other, if you can get the techs to get behind them, you can get the salespeople behind them and things like that. I really, really think this thing's going to be a hard position in this country.
Well, I think there's a dealer, Sean will know better where he's at, but there's somebody out towards, I think, like Oklahoma or something like that, that's really starting to get behind the Pan America too.
Well, I think that was in Missouri. I think Sean's
might have been
with
Missouri.
That guy quite a bit. I think he may southern Missouri somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like he's trying to get, some version of a dirt crew put together and starting to.
Well, and the other thing too is you have people like Larry Yeager.
Yeah.
Okay. He rides that Pan America.
He can ride that Pan America.
Now, the dealership might not be, Pan America, Pan America, Pan America. But it's like for anybody that's around that dealership that looks at what Larry does, it's like, well, he rides a Pan America and he rides it hard and he rides it a lot.
Yeah.
So maybe we take a look at Pan America on that. But March Moto Madness, okay? That was not all our doing. How many Pan Americas were at March Moto Madness?
That's pretty good.
Y'all did that little abbreviated class at March Moto Madness. You had what, 4 or 5 in the class?
We had 4 or 5 out of 19 students, yeah.
That's a pretty good majority.
That's awesome.
Of the class. And as far as I know, there was only one in that class that was really our customer before, but I don't think we sold a single one of the Pan Americas that were in that class.
Probably not.
Robin Bauer is a regular of ours. He's actually going to take the March class. So he sent a message the other day. He's going to take
nice.
March 24 class. I've been telling him because he kept going, I feel like I haven't gotten enough. I'm like, okay, come take the 2-day course that we offer and kind of get you better to where you're looking for. And Robin's a pretty decent rider. He's got a little bit of motocrossing background and stuff like that.
Well, he gravitated to it well, even in the rally training.
Yeah, but then like Glenn Lee, who lives up that way, Glenn's a Pan Am rider, and Glenn's kind of in a prime area to do it anyways because he lives off of Star Mountain. Oh, and I don't know if you've been across Star Mountain, but I don't think there's a single paved road on Star Mountain. Like it's gravel everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
So for him, to be able to get out and do that riding, I mean, he's just leaving his house to go to the gas station.
And it's an adventure.
So, but, I didn't get to go to Waylon Wayne. Okay. I know Sean was up there. I know Jagger and stuff were up there. What kind of Pan America presence was at Wayland Wayne? I don't know how many bikes are at Wayland Wayne.
There's about I think it's right around 400 people.
Okay, so about half the size of Marchman of Madness.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
And it wasn't as much as I would have wanted. The cool part is you had the demo trailer there. You had Clyder, Tim, and those guys there, or Jim, I mean. And a lot of people rode that motorcycle. A lot of people would sign the waiver, put the gear on, and go take a ride. And I had some people that were on potentially too small of a bike for them, would go take that ride and come back, and they were very intrigued by it.
Yeah.
And were ready to have a positive experience on a bigger bike.
Yeah, there's some people I've talked to that they've kind of been like, I'm probably 70% on-road and 30% off-road. And I kind of usually look at them and go, well, that's probably about what it should be anyways if you ride the bike on a regular basis, because you're not riding dirt roads every day unless you live on a dirt road.
Right, back to Glenn.
So, and I'll talk to these people and they'll be like, I just want something that feels more planted. And immediately I'm like, well, what size bike are you on? Let's talk about that, because you're probably not on a bike that's big enough to feel planted.
Yeah.
Because, like I think a T7 is a cool bike.
I do too.
Part of that is because I see what some of these guys do. Now we're talking about guys that are extremely skilled professionals that are doing this stuff, and they make the bike look like it weighs 100 pounds and stuff like that. But I don't think I'd want to ride a T7 on a long trip.
It'd be interesting to stay hunkered on it and see how it would go.
Yeah, I don't feel like I would be as planted as I would be, or as I know I am with a Pan America, because I'm fortunate enough. I've probably got, close to 3,000 miles total on Pan Americas myself.
Yeah.
Between a couple different demos and pre-owns and stuff like that. So
they're good. I'm not going to lie. They're good.
Yeah.
I finally, the only adjustments I have to make with my input to the motorcycle different from my BMW would be whenever I ride in sand.
Yeah.
2 or 3 weeks ago, I had now about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I had the opportunity to ride one in our dart training level 3 sand back at home.
Yeah.
A student had one. And it's, all bikes for the most part have a little bit of different characteristic in sand and how it wants to push, pull, or input the sand, what it's doing to the motorcycle. And, a point to your, to your point of being planted and having that feel of confidence, the Pan provides that. It just requires, potentially where I'm riding my BMW in first gear in sand, I'm riding my
that's yours.
I'm riding my I'm riding the Pan in second gear. Because I'm trying to generate thrust. The motorcycle has a forward weight feel. And that, again, adds to the planted feeling.
Yeah.
It's the only place I felt that in the motorcycle is when I need it to act like a boat, basically. But also, you can get down on a 690 or a 500 or something like that, which are wonderful adventure bikes. And you can get into sand, and the sand, without that weight presence, can kind of start to flick you around and give you some more of that input, to where 500 plus pounds has the ability to blow through some of the potential predetermined ruts or, previous travelers' ruts.
Yeah, I was watching a video the other day out of Australia, a couple guys on smaller ADVs, that middleweight class and stuff like that. And one of the guys was not necessarily a noob, but was not a super skilled rider. He could ride his bike. He could drift it a little bit on some of the dirt roads and stuff. Of course, they have a lot of dirt roads out in Australia. But the other guy was one of those guys that could just flick the bike around like it was nothing. And like I said, they were both on middleweight bikes, and they got on a section where it was just kind of miles and miles of this kind of sandy terrain. And one of the guys was just gone. The other guy was kind of fighting it. Mm-hmm. And what they were talking about was with that middleweight bike, it was almost, if you could control it, to go at a higher speed because you just kind of floated on the sand instead of just kind of sinking into it. But he was like, dude, it's the guy that was going slower was the one that was talking about it, narrating everything. He's like, if he goes down, we're gonna have to call like a helicopter to come get this guy.
And that's, whenever we're doing level 3 sand, training on, all ranges, anywhere from like T's XT250 all the way up through the BMW Pan into the 1290 KTM. You need to be able to stay in balance and control.
Yeah.
And speed is a part of that.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. You hit a point, like when you watch these guys, like on the bikes on the dunes, okay?
Dakar.
They have a level of control, and you're talking about extreme skilled riders. But they're not going 40. They're going 70,
100.
80, 100 miles an hour through this stuff. So can they make an immediate U-turn if they need to? No. They're not coming to a quick stop. They're not coming to a quick turn. They have to pre-plan and prejudge that stuff, and it's at a skill level that's
watch the failures.
1,000 times beyond where everybody else is.
Motorcycle rally riders or Dakar moto failures.
Oh yeah,
man, and I mean the highest skilled, the people that have actually won it, have a hospital trip or two in their past that should have been potentially debilitating.
And the thing too is when I feel like you hit an unsafe point on sand. Not that these guys can't do it, but I've seen some of those videos, and what you see on some of those videos is they hit a point where they're slowing down, where all of a sudden that front tire just digs in, grabs, and they go flying. The bike stops, and they just go flying off the bike.
Well, and I don't want to have this conversation to deter people from sand, because
there's
a way to do it.
It's not a stay away from sand. It's about the proper training and how to do it and how to manage it. I think some of that is, don't go out there and think, for somebody listening to this that's never taken a class, never rode sand, don't go out there and go, my best way to get across the sand is to go fast, because it's not.
Well, the preconceived notion is get your weight back and pin it.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people will talk to that.
But that's how people are getting hurt. There's a lot of people that are going riding off-road that have never been through proper instruction, that they see this stuff and they're thinking, oh, this is the way to do it. And it's just like, to use an example, okay, I've got a brother that's a police officer that was in the Marine Corps. When he joined the police department and was going through weapons training, one of the things that very first thing they asked was, who all's been in the military? Of all these guys that raise their hand, and they're like, well, we're going to have to retrain all of you how to shoot, because it's a different world. And I feel like there's people that are getting out there, and I've seen it, guys that get out there and get off road, and maybe they've been on motocross bikes for years and stuff like that. And then they try and maneuver these bigger bikes like it's a motocross bike, because they've seen somebody else do it. And it's like, slow down, take a breath, let's start with the basics and build that and learn to get a better point, get a better position. Because one, that's not always the answer, but two, it's probably not the safest way to go about handling the obstacle.
Well, we're not 16 anymore.
No.
We potentially,
I wish I was.
Well, we potentially have, a lifetime. We graduate high school, you spend some time in college, whatever that's going to be. You start your career, you get married, you have kids. Yeah. Next thing you know, you look up, your youngest is about to graduate high school, and you're starting to reassess, and it's been now another 20 years. So here you are in your early to mid 40s, maybe towards the tail end of your 40s, coming into your 50s, and I'm about to have this free time. What do I want to do for me, or what am me and my wife going to do? Well, what we were doing at 16, we just don't have the motor skills and potentially the mental capacity to apply that the same way. And now we have this false sense of hubris. Yeah. To throw a leg. I've ridden a motorcycle. Yeah. And then it weighs now more than double what you were used to as a kid. And then you put some gear on it, and you don't have the motor skills you did when you were 16.
Yeah.
And we all have our mind of a 16-year-old, and that's where we go out and hang ourselves.
Yeah. I definitely think a lot of people need to do that. Taking a step back and thinking. For instance, me, if I go ride the Dragon on my street glide, I know what I could do on the street glide on my Dragon. But last time I rode the Dragon, I did it on a Pan America. And in theory, on paper, and watching these guys do it, that Pan America should be so much faster through the Dragon. But I was a lot slower through the Dragon because I'm not used to it. So I took my time. I enjoyed myself, took my time, and stayed at a very safe yet comfortable pace for me.
Manageable.
Right. It still might have been more than what some other people might have been. But some of that comes into, wasn't my first time on a Pan America. Some of that comes into, wasn't my first time on this road. But I still didn't try and do with that bike like I do with my bike that I've done it hundreds of times on.
Yeah.
Although I know that bike can outperform mine, I didn't try to. And I feel like there's a lot of people that do that. They go, oh, I know it can do this. But they don't know the training that some of these people have been through to get to that point of where they can do that.
Well, and maybe it's not the reps, to your road analogy here. It's, you know how to ride a motorcycle on road.
Yeah.
But you have to put the reps and the time in to understand how to ride that motorcycle on road. Just like trying to ride one off road.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I'm definitely interested to get into it more. I've got that XR now. I need to get some stuff done with that XR. There's a couple things I need to do to get it better suited for me, to be able to do some of the things. For one, I got to do something with the bars because if I stand up, I feel like I'm leaned over really far, way over the front wheel. And of course, it's more dirt bike style, which is how those are. But I know there's things I can do, and for me, it's with that bike. It was just kind of plopped in my garage, and it was like, here you go, ride this. It's like, okay, I will. I'll get an ADV. But for now, it's like, I'm not going to go out and spend the money. I don't have to. So we're doing these things, and we're getting out and learning. I'm really interested in actually taking the class. I've told Sean that I would love to take the class and stuff like that. So, but the next class in March, we've got someone coming in, Aaron Dean. He's Knucklehead Adventures on social media and stuff like that. Aaron's a really skilled rider on the road. I know he's done some off-road. I don't know where that level is with the off-road riding.
To be determined.
But I know he's done some off-roading. But the last point I want to hit on here, because it's something that you and I have just kind of in conversations had on the floor. I've said stuff about, I want a little bike so I can do like single track and stuff like that. I don't have to get a little bike to do single track.
No.
Talk about that for a second.
Well, I think Sean's ran this gambit. He's running it right now. Sean buys his Pan, and then he goes out and buys that little 450L. Well, now he's looking at selling the 450L because he just never rides it.
Yeah.
Regardless to what he's in pursuit of or what it's, your goal is with it. If this is home base and that's your ride or die, it's a 1250 Pan America or my 1250 BMW, my 1200 BMW I started riding on whenever I made the transition into the ADV segment. I mean, you'll go out, if you want to ride, you'll ride.
Yeah.
And you'll learn to ride, just put the reps in, just like you were saying with the Dragon. And you'll start to have those inputs. And then all of a sudden, you'll get onto another motorcycle. You'll think that the small bike would give you this opportunity, but you've settled in to having the 500 pounds and the inputs. And yes, it's 150 horsepower, but it doesn't want to throw you off of it at all times.
Yeah.
It wants to be linear. It wants to go on a ride. And this is with all the tattletales turned off. This is traction control turned off, ABS turned off. It's not trying to fling you off the back of it to where that 450L, is wanting to come on power and wanting to go do things. And if you're not used to that, man, and it's really hard having those transitions and inputs.
Yeah.
But you can put the reps in and get good at it.
Well, I feel, the time that I've spent off-road on that XR and the time that I've spent off-road on the Pan America, I honestly, at a appropriate pace is what I'll call it, in the woods, I had more control over that Pan America than I did that XR.
Yeah.
Because that XR, there's a lot of steering that you do with the rear tire and stuff like that, and just pushing through and just, high speed plowing over stuff. And it's like that's the way to get through. But, if I don't want to run 50 miles an hour up this hill, I don't have a whole lot of options. I've got to run 50 miles an hour up this hill, where some of those same obstacles that I've been on with the Pan America, I can literally just like first gear chug it and just go up the hill and have full control of everything's going on and feel comfortable, feel safer, not have that in the back of my mind. Because I do think about that. I think about, getting out there and getting hurt, having to be in here. I think about those things with Sean. Whenever Sean's going on his ride, I'm like, okay, remember, be safe, have fun, be safe, because you gotta be back here on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot to be said for that, and it's, ride your ride.
Yeah.
Whatever you're on, if it's the 650, which is a wonderful machine, whatever you end up on, go put the reps in and get comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Because they're all out there doing it now.
Yeah.
You can find somebody. And so don't let that deter you from a make and model, but don't let it deter you from a bigger model either.
Yeah.
Where probably the biggest hang up's going to be is, can I touch the ground and what happens when it falls?
Yeah.
And we try to cover that really early in the training of
Yeah.
level 1 and 2 is, dispelling the myth that the bike is too tall. And then, making sure that we have the inputs to pick the motorcycle up.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that, because I meet people that'll just be like, man, the bike's too tall. And I'm like, no, you just need to be trained how to ride it.
That's it.
I get that you might not be comfortable only holding the bike up with one foot right now, but go through training.
Well, take your road glide and get into an intersection where they've laid asphalt recently and poorly, and semis have put 2 ruts out there, and you pick a bad line and you go to put your 2 feet down and there's nothing there, your motorcycle will fall over in an intersection. Yeah. It's going to happen. It does happen. It's part of it. And that's not that the bike is too tall. It's just the ground went away. Yeah. And we're running that drill daily on-road, off-road.
Yeah. And I have experienced that on Pan America, where I stopped and my foot was there, and then the ground moved and my foot was no longer there, and me and the Pan America both went down.
Well, and I did it the other day on the ride with Chuck and Tim and those guys. Yeah. I was following Chuck. I'm number 2. So I've got Tim, Don, Ted, and these guys behind me, and I go to pull up, and I went to put my foot down. Yeah. And the ground was tapering away, and it was a low side. Yeah. Step away from the motorcycle, let it hit the ground.
But there's so many places in this country still that are gorgeous and stuff like that are inaccessible unless you're on something like that.
Well, you have to be in an extreme vehicle to get to some. Yeah. And you'll eventually get there. They have these wonderful, side by sides that'll go get anything. Yeah. You can take a really nice Jeep, Bronco, AT4, GMC. And get to some of these places. It's a lot of fun on a motorcycle. Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. There's some people that are going to be coming to the next class, a couple that they're overlanders. Yeah. And there's so many places that they go and they'll get out to, and they're like, we could keep going, but we can't keep going in our overland vehicle.
Well, and sometimes, your pace. Yeah. The amount of money you have to spend in suspension to be able to take those hits of the terrain as it's coming, and you have to follow a 2-track due to the width of the vehicle. Man, you can get on 2 wheels with a little bit of a skill set. Man, and you can go out there and pick the terrain apart, and you can carry so much more distance because you have this skill set to manipulate the machine to get you there.
So, any last like things you want to say to anybody outside of training when it comes to the Pan America in general, or picking motorcycles, or those types of things? Any last advice that you want to give to anybody? Because I'm reckoning it'll be March before we get to talk again.
Basically, the next time we'll see each other's March. But the only thing I'll say is go pick a motorcycle you can be happy with and learn to ride it.
Yeah.
If you do on-road, don't limit yourself on the size of the machine.
Yeah.
Because you won't ride it. You'll get it out on the interstate. You'll go to do something, like you said, the ratio, the 70-30, you spend 70%. Hey man, you want to throw a leg over something and go to a bike night, go. There's, we have wind therapy.
Yeah.
And just because, we don't want to get on something that's going to limit our ability to get in and experience what we want to experience.
Yeah.
So get something that you can be comfortable on, get something and set it up to be comfortable on, and then get plugged in.
Yeah.
Get plugged into the community, because the community is the magic of what all of the ADV side of this is.
And I would say anybody that's inside of a couple hours,
yeah,
we have the community here.
It's awesome. The people are cool, and let's go get face to face. Let's go get in trouble.
Yeah.
Let's go put these things in a pickle. And that's when the fun actually starts.
Yeah.
Is when you put the side stand down and you go down there and help your friend get upright, make sure nothing's bleeding, bike ain't bleeding, what have you. We dust it all off, get our eyes up. Make sure that you look around.
Yeah.
And some of this beautiful countryside that we get to call home.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. Enjoy the failure.
Enjoy the failure. That's a good one to say.
Yeah, because it's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you have the nerve to go out there, get on something you're comfortable with, and go experience it?
Hey everybody, this is Sean at White Lightning Harley Davidson. I want to thank you for listening to the Daily Biker Podcast. You can reach the podcast on Facebook or Instagram at The Daily Biker, or you can email the podcast at thedailybiker@gmail.com. Be sure to keep an eye on White Lightning Harley Davidson social media pages for the most up-to-date information on all our events and where you can find the boys.